There's a cage most people live in their entire lives. And here's the terrifying part, the door is wide open. They can walk out anytime. But they never do. It's not money that keeps them trapped. It's not luck. It's not the economy. It's something far more dangerous. Something invisible. Something is happening inside their own mind right now. And if you don't recognize it, you will spend the next 20 years exactly where you are today. The comfort zone prison. Let me tell you about David. David was 32 years old, working the same office job he started at 23. Every morning, he'd sit in traffic for an hour. Every evening, he'd come home exhausted. He had dreams once. Big dreams. He wanted to start his own business, travel, build something meaningful. But somewhere along the way, those dreams turned into whispers. Then silence. Here's what happened to David. And here's what's happening to millions right now. The human brain is wired for survival, not success. Your mind doesn't care about your dreams. It cares about keeping you alive. And alive means familiar, safe, predictable, even if that predictable life is slowly crushing your soul. This is the comfort zone prison. It's not comfortable at all. But it's known. And your brain will choose known suffering over unknown possibilities every single time. David stayed in that job not because it paid well. It didn't. Not because he loved it. He hated it. He stayed because leaving meant uncertainty. It meant risk. It meant his brain would scream danger signals every single day until he retreated back to what felt safe. The first reason people stay stuck is this: they've trained their mind to fear growth more than they fear staying the same. They've made peace with silent suffering because it doesn't require courage. And every day they stay, the walls get thicker. The blame game trap. Now let me tell you about Hazel. Hazel had a story for everything. Why she couldn't save money. The rent was too high. Why she couldn't switch careers. The job market was terrible. Why she couldn't learn new skills. She didn't have time. Her parents didn't set her up right. Her city didn't have opportunities. The system was rigged. And you know what? Some of those things were true. Life dealt her a difficult hand. But here's the psychological trap that keeps 99% of people locked in place. When you make yourself the victim of your circumstances, you give away your power. Hazel didn't realize she was doing this. She thought she was just being realistic. It's just acknowledging the facts. But every time she blamed something outside herself, she was telling her subconscious mind, you have no control. There's nothing you can do. And when your mind believes that, it stops looking for solutions. It stops trying. Why would it? If you're powerless, trying is pointless. This is the second trap, the blame trap. It feels like honesty. It feels like you're just telling the truth about how hard things are. But it's actually a psychological defense mechanism. Your brain protects you from the pain of failure by convincing you that you never had a chance in the first place. The people who break free, they acknowledge the obstacles, but they refuse to use them as excuses. They understand something crucial: you might not control what happens to you, but you always control what you do about it. Always. Hazel spent years stuck not because her circumstances were impossible. She stayed stuck because she gave her circumstances permission to define her. She handed over the pen and let her situation write her story. And her brain, trying to protect her from disappointment, kept feeding her reasons why nothing would work. The now over later mindset. Let me tell you about someone who broke free. His name was Arnold Schwarzenegger. Before he became a Hollywood icon, before the fame and the wealth, Arnold was a young bodybuilder from Austria with barely any money. He'd train for hours every single day. His friends would go out drinking, partying, living in the moment. They'd invite him, mock him, tell him he was wasting his youth. But Arnold understood something most people never grasp. He understood the power of delayed gratification. Every single day he made a choice: temporary pleasure or long-term vision. The easy path or the hard one. Instant comfort or future freedom. And every single day he chose the future. This is the third psychological trap that keeps people stuck. The inability to delay gratification. Your brain is wired to seek immediate rewards. It's how we survived as a species. If our ancestors saw food, they ate it. They didn't think about next week. because next week they might be dead. So instant reward won every time. But we don't live in that world anymore. Today, the people who win are the ones who can override that ancient wiring. The ones who can say no to comfort today for power tomorrow. Most people can't do this. They see someone successful and think they just got lucky. They don't see the thousands of small decisions, the nights they stayed in while others went out. It's the money they saved while others spent. It's the skills they built while others watched television. Arnold trained when he was tired. He saved when he wanted to spend. He studied English when it was painful. He said no to parties and yes to discipline. Not because it felt good, because he knew who he wanted to become. The people who stay stuck, they optimize for today. They choose the easier motion right now. They avoid discomfort. They take the path of least resistance. And every time they do, they're voting for the person they are instead of the person they could be. Here's the truth that changes everything. Being stuck is not something that happens to you. It's something you choose, unconsciously, repeatedly, through 1,000 tiny decisions that feel like nothing in the moment. Every time you choose comfort over growth, you're choosing to stay stuck. Every time you blame your circumstances instead of taking responsibility, you're choosing to stay stuck. Every time you pick instant pleasure over delayed reward, you're choosing to stay stuck. And here's what makes this so dangerous. These choices don't feel like choices. They feel like just getting through the day, just being realistic, just relaxing a little. Your brain makes them feel inevitable, natural. Like this is just who you are. But it's not who you are. It's who you've practiced being. The wealthy and successful aren't different species. They're not smarter. They're not luckier. They've just trained their psychology differently. They've learned to make their brain work for their future instead of against it. They've learned that comfort is the enemy of growth, saying that responsibility is power, that discipline is freedom. And they practice these truths every single day until they become automatic. The cage you're in, you built it. Thought by thought, choice by choice, day by day. And that means something incredible. If you built it, you can tear it down. The choice is yours. So here's what happens next. You can close this video and go back to your regular programming, your regular thoughts, your regular choices, and your life will continue on its regular trajectory. There's no judgment in that. Most people do. Or you can decide right now that the familiar prison is no longer acceptable, that comfort is costing you too much, that blame is a luxury you can no longer afford, that your future is worth more than your present comfort. The next 24 hours will tell you everything. Not the next year, not the next month, the next 24 hours. Will you choose the easier option or the growth option? Will you take responsibility or find an excuse? Will you do the uncomfortable thing or the convenient thing? Because that's all it takes. One decision, then another, until those decisions become patterns, and those patterns become your new identity. And that identity creates a completely different life. 99% stay stuck because they're waiting for the right time, the right opportunity, the right feeling. But the 1% who break free, they understand that you don't wait for change, you decide for it. The door is open. It always has been. The question is, will you finally walk through it?